Welcome, friends, to Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter. We bring you the greatest female voices in the music industry, from the artists, songwriters, and producers, to managers and executives, and all the women who make the music industry what it is today. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, friends, to Crazy Women Country. I'm Donna.
I'm Paula, and today we've got Taylor Hughes with us. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you ladies doing?
Fantastic. I'm doing very good.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So, tell our Crazy Women fans, who is Taylor Hughes?
Oh, Lord, where do I even begin? I don't know if we have enough time. No. I'm born and raised in Lexington, Kentucky. I moved to the Nashville area a little over 3 years ago. I've always loved country music. I grew up on it. My dad always had it playing in the house, but I grew up on Tim McGraw and Kenny Chesney and Reba, Martina McBride, all those people. But we also always had blues and Southern rock playing in the house too, which is where I get a lot of my musical influence. Obviously y'all have probably heard some of my music, and for my fans, they can probably agree. I get told all the time that I'm a blues singer, so which is totally fine with me. But yeah, no, I'm born and raised in Lexington, Kentucky. I've always wanted to play music, but no one ever really knew it. I guess for me growing up, it didn't really seem like it could be a job. It was more of just a hobby. And I was very involved in athletics. I played volleyball all year round competitively, and I was actually supposed to go to college on a scholarship. And which is kind of what led me to my music career, because I got a serious injury in my junior year of high school, and that ended my volleyball career. So that was kind of well, there goes the college plans. And I decided that I wanted to start taking guitar lessons. And my parents obviously were like, oh, okay, well, sure, why not? And I started taking lessons. And what's funny is that my guitar teacher is actually someone my dad babysat way back in the day. So it was kind of this full circle, this was meant to be. And he still teaches me today. And he's basically family. But I had just a few lessons with him, and maybe 2 or 3. And he called my parents and told them he wanted to take me to Nashville to perform. And my parents were like, there's no way she knows how to play the guitar. She probably knows one chord. And he was like, no, Taylor sings. And my parents were very they thought it was a joke. They had no idea that I sang. Yeah. And so for 18 years, I kind of had hidden this talent that I had, because I was always in choir and stuff, but from where I'm from, you're either a band kid or a choir kid. So everyone just kind of does one or the other, whether or not they can actually do it, So they never really thought anything of it. And we came down here in Nashville Palace is a venue. It's still here. It's still super popular. It's been around forever and ever. They had this TV Comcast called Nashville Spotlight. I don't think it's on anymore, but I got on stage, and it was the first time I'd ever performed by myself. And my parents thought I was lip singing. And everyone, to just attract, 'cause I wasn't playing, I was just singing to music. And everyone was so excited, and they loved having me. And they were like, oh, you got to bring her back. And my parents were like, oh, thanks. Yeah, she's great. And they were like, were you lip singing when I got off stage? And I was like, no. And then that's kind of just how my career got started, was I just kept coming down to Nashville every few months to perform, and I kept taking guitar lessons. And that's really just kind of how it all started for me. And now my parents are 100% in. They're like, this is what we're doing, which is great, because a lot of times when your kids, because I did go to college for a little bit, and I went for a few years, and I did the whole partying and sorority life and stuff. And I got to my junior year, and I was like, this isn't what I want to do. I want to invest myself in music 100%. And most of the time or most situations when a kid is telling their parents, yeah, I'm leaving college, not gonna finish, I want to go be a rock star. They're like, you want to what? But I remember the conversation I had with my dad, and it was very, very clear. He was like, if this is what you're doing, you go all in. There is no plan B. And like if you want it, you got to do it. And that was so inspiring to me, because both of my parents are both, I guess what you would say, entrepreneurs as well, which I guess you could call music that too. So to have their support and just from the very beginning has been a blessing. Absolutely. So
that's perfect. It's perfect. I think we all need our parents' support, don't we, no matter what we do. So that's amazing.
Yeah, especially with the music business, with it being like you just don't know what's gonna happen, and so like all the support you can get.
Perfect. I love that story. It's a great story.
Absolutely. I like how your dad's telling you there's no plan B on it. Go all or go not or go home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And my dad's always been that way with anything he's done. He was in the car business forever, and then he left that and started his own building company, and he did that for like 20 plus years. And he designs homes, and he still does all kinds of like interior design, and he's been a realtor, and now he's actually my manager. So he kind of dabbles in a little bit of everything.
Perfect. That's amazing. That really is, I have to say. But obviously the sports career wasn't meant to be. So everything happens for a reason. So.
Exactly. And at the time when it happened, I was like, obviously I was devastated, because I was like, this is my life. Like I live, breathe, and play volleyball. Like that's all I do. And what am I going to do now? That was my ride to college. Like, so I stayed at home for a few years and went to University of Kentucky on, I guess, what would you call it? I was on a scholarship, but it was for grades. So I didn't play sports, obviously. But yeah, I was just like, this isn't for me. It's one of those things where you just like, you gotta do it. Like or you might, this is probably dramatic, but like you might just die. Like I just have to play music. It's in me, it's ingrained in me. And it's funny because my mom was a singer when she was my age, and she absolutely loved it. And she had me and my brother, and she stopped singing. So like I've never really even heard my mom sing, and I always try to get her to sing with me, and she's like, no, you're so much better than me. My mom's super shy, like the sweetest person, and I'm like, we're going to do a duet one day, like it is happening. Maybe a few cocktails in her or something.
Slip her a few drinks, she won't know, and she'll be up there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, she's the best.
Perfect. That sounds amazing.
So as you talk about your mom, who are some of the other female influences that kind of geared you toward music? Like you mentioned the hidden talent, obviously. So who were some of your influences that you felt like, wow, I'd love to do some of what she's doing, or it's really inspired me to do more?
Yeah. Well, in the music wise, I am a huge Miranda Lambert fan. And I was listening to a interview you all did with, I can't remember what her name was, but she was saying if she could do like a show dedicated to like Miranda Lambert, she had every song covered. And I heard it and I was like, me too. I could just sing Miranda Lambert for hours and hours and hours, and we wouldn't have to do anything else. But I've always been a huge Miranda Lambert fan. Not in country music, but I was also a huge Christina Aguilera fan. I remember watching her growing up and being like, wow, like that voice and she's the way she, oh my gosh, I still believe she's one of the greatest voices of like our day. And, obviously I loved Faith Hill and Carrie Underwood, watching them, and always watched American Idol. So I was a huge fan of Kelly Clarkson. But really, like, Miranda Lambert has been a huge influence on me in my music just from the beginning. And she still is lyrically, and the way that I guess, carry myself. But with my Southern rock and blues influence, I get a lot of other influences from like Susan Tedeschi. I don't know if you know who she is. She's amazing. and she's a fantastic blues artist. And obviously I love Ashley McBryde, and so I get a lot of like my songwriting influences from her too.
Perfect. There's some amazing women in there. Amazing women.
Oh my gosh, there's so much talent in this world. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Susan Tedeschi. I mean, that's not one we've heard recent, like a lot on here, even at all. I mean, that's someone that I've always loved too, but you know, yeah.
My husband introduced me to her. He was, I had never seen Tedeschi Trucks band, and he was like, we're going to the Ryman. It was my first show ever at the Ryman, and I think it was his first show there too. He was like, we're going to see them and you're going to fall in love, because my husband is a big jam band fan. Like, he's Grateful Dead, Fish, Widespread Panic, and I'm like, what is this noise? Like, and like he's not a country music fan. So when I'm like, well, do you like what I do? And he's like, I love what you do, but you're a blues artist. So I was like, thanks, babe. Like, thanks for the support. But he likes like Texas country. I've really got him into like a bunch of that. And yeah, I remember seeing Susan Tedeschi, and I was just like, oh my God, she's even better in person. Like, she's a dream. I absolutely want to be her.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So, you recently had a new single out, which
Yes,
we both loved. Prayin To The Whiskey. So,
yes.
Tell us more about that. I love that song.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I've been sitting on this song for a long time, and I know a lot of people that know me and my original music. They're like, Taylor, when are you releasing this song? And I'm like, eventually. Like, it's always kind of scary releasing music into the world, and because it's your baby and like you want people to love it. But it was actually the first song I wrote when I moved to Nashville a little over 3 years ago. I had been writing before I had moved here, but it was just like happened to be the first one that I wrote, and it's actually a co-write with my dad. So not all my dad and I we used to get to write together a lot, but ever since I moved here, it's not so much. But when we do, it's so much fun, just because obviously I have a huge passion for music, but when I can like share that with my dad, who I'm super close with, it makes it just that like 100 times better. And what was fun about this release was, this is basically like a signature song for me. Everyone knows like, oh, Prayin To The Whiskey, that's like one of the first songs I ever heard Taylor play, or like, you know, and it's obviously not the typical female artist song, but it was also kind of an introduction to the world. Like, my dad is a writer too. Like, here we go. And he doesn't have a musical bone in his body. He cannot sing, he cannot play, but he can write like amazing stuff. And so it's always really fun when we get to sit down and collaborate. And there's a ton of other songs that we've written together that I play out all the time and plan to release too. But yeah, you know, it was funny writing this song, because it's one of those things where you don't know how people are going to take it, you know. And I'm Catholic. I was born and raised Catholic, and my whole family is that way. And so it was funny to kind of take that part of me, and then the whole like, we're praying to whiskey kind of smash them together, because it's kind of like, it's always joking around like Catholics love to drink, and you know, and I'm like, no, you know, we like to have a little fun. But you know, it was just it's funny to think that, you know, my dad and I just sat down one day and we were like, let's write a song, and then it turned into this. And
Perfect.
but it's been a fun one. It's gotten a great response, which has always, you know, you always want that, but I've just been always like surprised about it. Like I said, like, oh, you don't hear a lot of women like talking about that kind of stuff. And for me, I'm always like, this is how I am, take it or leave it. Like, my daddy raised me like a boy. I always hung out with like my big group of friends. There was always just a few girls, and then the rest were just a bunch of guys. And, you know, that's how I met my husband, was our big group of guy friends. And he just happened to live with my best friend's boyfriend, who is now her husband. So it's crazy how all that works.
Perfect. I love it. I love those stories are great. So we can see a whole album coming out of songs written with you.
Oh man,
So
you know, we've been talking about it. I've got a ton of material, especially with being stuck in quarantine over the last year. I really got to dive into songwriting, and I've got a lot of awesome songs that I'm really excited about that I've co-written with a bunch of other great artists and songwriters that I really think showcase the kind of artist I want to be. And since playing them out, they've gotten some really good responses too. So I'm ready to put out an album. So we'll see what happens.
Yes. See what 2021 brings. Yay.
Right. So far, so good. So, I cannot complain.
And we're anxious to hear it.
Oh, yes. Totally. Okay. So this is the fun part. I love this part. So
this is the bad part.
Oh, this is the bad part. Also, it's not thinking, remember?
Yes. It's for everybody to get to know Taylor. This is a good part.
Let's do this. I'm ready.
Okay. So start off nice and easy, okay? Early bird or night owl?
Oh, night owl.
Beach or countryside?
Ooh, it depends on the beach. If it's like down in Florida, then I'm like, but if we're like going to like the Bahamas or something, then yeah, like I'm about that.
Wait, back up. Have you been on the west coast of Florida? The west coast, we have like white sand beaches and some really cool stuff.
It's like Clearwater or like
south of Clearwater.
South. Okay, I haven't been there since like high school. Oh my Lord. And I won't tell you how old I am. I used to love going down to Florida, actually. We used to go there for every spring break and had some great times. And I remember having an absolute blast. But as I've gotten older, I think I've started to appreciate just, being out in the country and stuff. Sometimes my husband and I will just take like a Sunday drive and we'll just drive through it. And it's so beautiful and so peaceful. And like, if we could live out in the country and buy land and not have any neighbors, he would be all about it. But like, I love people. I love being around like the nightlife and stuff. So I gotta like live in the middle.
That sounds perfect. Okay. Favorite season?
Fall.
Biggest fear?
Ooh. This is probably going to sound a little cliche, but failure is probably my biggest fear. There's not a whole lot that I'm scared of. Maybe that's because my daddy raised me like a boy.
So you're nice and tough.
Between you and me, I'm the one who kills the spiders in my house, if that tells you anything.
I'm calling you.
I love that. That's
going to kill me if he watches this interview.
That's perfect. Favorite holiday?
Ooh, I love Christmas. I do. Christmas has always been a big part of my family, and because I have a really big family, so whenever all of us can get together, and we're all spread across the country, so it's nice to just all get together that one time of the year.
Sounds good. Okay, favorite drink?
Favorite drink? Bourbon or whiskey, right?
I was hoping for that answer. I was like, is it going to be that or isn't it?
Probably. And if we're being more specific, I really like an old fashioned. Like that's my favorite cocktail.
Okay, cool. Left or right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Favorite animal?
I love dogs. I have 3. They drive me crazy. My house is covered in fur, but I've had dogs since I was 3 years old, and I couldn't imagine not having one.
I love dogs. Dogs are the best.
Yeah, we have lots of dogs between us and a cat.
The token cat who is our co-host.
Our co-host, Tigger, everyone.
See, I'm like highly allergic to cats, and my husband's like, "Oh, we should get a cat," and I'm like, "No."
Somehow I outgrew the allergy, so I don't know.
Oh gosh, I wish I could. You said favorite color?
Yes, ma'am. Favorite color?
Royal blue and black.
That's cool.
If you could talk to anyone, dead or alive, who would it be, and what would you want to talk about?
Ooh, Miranda Lambert. So bad. And I'd probably want to, obviously talk about music. So
Sounds perfect.
What's one of your hobbies?
one of my hobbies, well, I am a huge gym rat and like fitness junkie. I love working out. I love learning how the body works in nutrition. I actually help train and do nutrition on the side. I've always wanted to be kind of like Carrie Underwood, where she has her own fitness line. Like that would be a dream to kind of do that and mix it with my music. So
That'd be so cool. We'll keep an eye out for that.
Right, we're going to sign up for that one.
Yes.
I said I realized the other day I was cutting trees. I'm like, I am sore. Like just trimming limbs. I'm like, I'm sore. I'm like, yeah. So anyway.
I need to do more physical activity. Oh, I love it. I know it's so weird and people are like, I hate working out, but I love it. It's like that hour is like me time. But I don't like, I'm not working. I'm not being bothered by people. I love it.
Yeah.
If you were a musical, what musical would you be?
Ooh. How about Burlesque? Is that a musical? Or like Chicago? Or have you all seen the movie Burlesque? I feel like, did they make that into a
The
musical?
one with Cher and Christina Aguilera.
Yeah. I watched that the other day and it's so good.
It's amazing. That is very, very cool.
If you were a mythical creature, what creature would you be?
A dragon.
Nice. I'm looking at the dragon. I'm telling you.
I'm a huge like Game of Thrones fan, so like in the dragon is my favorite part.
So the dragons are always there. That's so cool.
Yes.
If you could be a Disney character, what character would you be?
Ooh, this is a hard one. If I could be a Disney character, probably a character from Frozen. I love that movie. I love Elsa, but I also love Olaf. Olaf's like my favorite, so I'd probably be Olaf.
Be a snowman. I love that. Everybody else goes for the human characters, and you've gone from Olaf. Now that's
oh my gosh, I'm telling you, like I'm weird. Like
I love that. That's the best answer, I have to say.
I don't know. I think I like the idea of turning everything to ice. That's just so cool to me. But yeah.
Have you all seen the second one?
Yes.
I have not.
It's so good. So like my husband and I will be like in different parts of the house and he'll randomly do the and then I'll do it and like he does it like this awful like deep one and I'm like, oh God. I love like we both share like this love for Disney movies. So like I got him hooked on Frozen. So now he watches it too. But like he loves like Mulan and The Lion King. So like whenever we've had like a few drinks or something, he like sings Disney tunes to me. Actually, funny story about that. When we got married, our first dance song kept, we just had like music playing and like a CD, it kept stopping. And my uncle was in charge of it and he felt so bad. He was like, I can't get it to work. So my husband sang Hakuna Matata to me for our first dance.
Now that is the best, seriously.
Yeah.
What more could you ask for? That is so cool.
We are children, so it's fine.
No one said you had to grow up. Go.
Yes, that is so cool. I used to do, the Lion King thing with my little cat.
Yes, we always do that with our dogs. Yes, we do that with the dogs too. Now they're a little bit too big for it, but whenever we get like new puppies, we always do. That's probably Drew's favorite movies, The Lion King.
That's so cool.
I still like the little dance of Timon and Pumbaa, when they're about to be eaten.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's just a classic. It's so good.
Yeah.
So
When you mentioned volleyball, that's the first thing I think of. We used to do this little dance. I used to do this little like luau, we used to do that every game during a break. And
yes.
Yeah.
I miss volleyball. Good times.
So, what is your favorite snack or one of them?
Ooh, probably anything dark chocolate or donuts or cake. I have a terrible sweet tooth and like I don't know if you all have ever heard of Five Daughters Donuts, but they're like these huge like croissant donuts, and I buy like I buy one of each flavor because I don't want to miss out on a flavor. Drew's like, we're going to be as big as a house. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine.
We'll get to the gym, it'll be fine.
Right? We'll just go to the gym. That's why we work out, so we can stuff our face with donuts.
So are those like a Tennessee thing, or? And I'm asking because I haven't heard of them.
I know a lot of. I think there's one in Florida and like one in Georgia, but it's mostly just like here in Tennessee. So if you ever come to like the Nashville area, there's like 3 or 4 locations, and they're like mind blowing, and they're so good. And I'm the weirdo who like they release new flavors every month. And I'm the weirdo who like gets on Instagram. I'm like, oh, they announced some new flavors. We have to go get them. And Drew's like, you have a problem.
She has a donut. Look, is that my mug?
See, that is my life. Like I need donuts like 24/7. Everything else I eat is like super like healthy and clean. But like if you put cake or donuts in front of me, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not sharing. These are all mine.
I love it.
So what's one song that you've been listening to a lot lately that you would recommend that everyone needs to listen to at least once?
Ooh, I'm on a Halsey kick right now. Probably anything Halsey. There's a song called what's I gotta think of what it's called. You Should Be Sad by Halsey.
Okay.
Not a country artist, but I'm like totally obsessed with her. And it's funny because my dad got me hooked on her. He was like, you should cover some of her stuff. I was like, how do you know who Halsey is? So
that's great. I love that. Okay, final question. Who is your favorite CWC host?
Both of you. I can't have favorites.
That was very smooth. Everybody else is like, and you're just like, answered. That was smooth. That was very smooth.
I don't like to pick favorites, and I always tell that with my parents. My dad's like, I'm her favorite. My mom's like, no. And I'm like, it depends on the situation. It depends on if we're having a disagreement and who's on my side. So,
I love that. That's perfect.
There's enough love to go around for everybody.
Perfect. See, that's what it should be. It should be. So tell us and the rest of the world, what does 2021 hold for you?
You know what? That's a good question. Sometimes I wish I knew the answer to it, but right now, I just released a new song. I have plans of releasing another single that I'm super excited about. It just might be a love song, and if for those people who know me really well, they're going to be really surprised because I don't write love songs. So I'm super excited to be releasing more music. I've been touring for the past 2 months, and I've got a pretty busy schedule for the next few months out. So I'm hoping to just travel a lot more, go to new places, release more music. I want to say same old, but last year we really didn't get to do much traveling.
No, last year was very quiet.
Just getting out and enjoying life and meeting new fans and getting to see old fans. And
sounds like a plan.
Yeah, much better than last year for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Anything is better than last year.
Yeah, last year was a bump in the road. That's what it was.
Just a little, but I think, there were a lot of good things to come out of it. I always tell people, like, I actually grew my fan base because I started diving into live streams, which I'd never done before. And they were reaching, over in the UK and Australia. And now my fan base has grown. I'm had the chance to write more and more. So I've got a ton of new material, and, it allowed me to take a step back and kind of just realize, what's important, and what I thought was important, maybe, wasn't so much, and to just really value that time that I have with, friends and family.
Perfect. Sounds amazing, really. Sounds really good. So, yeah.
And my husband and I didn't kill each other. So we survived quarantine.
There should be T-shirts out with that on.
Right? I feel like because I don't know if you all noticed this, but I feel like a lot of people got divorced or like just split up. I'm like, did you not realize who you were with? And like, then you got locked into a house with them. Like, I mean, I will admit there were times I was like, I've had enough of you. But we survived. He joked about it the other night. He was like, babe, they say if you survive 5 years, you're doing good. And we've been married for 3. And he's like, but we survived quarantines. Like, that's gotta mean something.
Yeah.
That's gotta be
years on for sure.
Right? Like, I feel like I deserve a trophy or something.
I think the problem is people are so used to, being away at work. You don't see each other.
Yeah.
A few hours, then it's bed, and it starts over again.
Yes. Yeah, that's absolutely how it is.
You're like,
Yeah,
working from home. There's a lot of people took that stress from working at home when they could. And that just, that's a whole different animal. I mean, I transitioned years ago to working from home remotely. Right. And if that first 6 months was really transitioning for me, but yeah, that I think adds to huge stress.
Well, you say that, I guess like around this time last year is when the shutdown happened. And my husband had just gotten a brand new job, like at the beginning of March, like right a week before shutdown happens. Like we obviously didn't know what was going on. And it's based in New York. So like he works from home, and it was kind of like a blessing in disguise. Mm-hmm. Because it was like, well, you're already going to be stuck here anyway. So, this job works out perfectly. And I know he enjoys I'm jealous, but he just gets to roll out of bed in his PJs and just walk into the other room to go to work. I'm like, I have to get fixed up and like go out and do some stuff.
Yeah, that kind of.
I can definitely relate to that.
Right? Oh, gosh.
It's so funny. So funny.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh my gosh, thank you all so much. This has been a blast. And you know what? The questions weren't that bad. I was able to answer them.
I should have threw some hard ones in.
Really well. Yes.
Right? Yeah, but thank you all so much for having me on. I really do appreciate it.
No worries. No worries. We look forward to hearing some new music.
Oh, yes. I will definitely let y'all know when it's coming.
Perfect. Sounds good to us. So, yeah. Thank you.
If you enjoyed today's episode of Crazy Women Country, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Be sure to click the subscribe button for new interviews weekly. And thank you, friends, for joining us today on Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter.